Despite being 6 days away, the odds are out for game number 1 of the 2024 NBA Finals inside TD Garden. That's where we go. After a 64-18 regular season mark for Boston, the C's have home floor advantage throughout the entirety of this postseason. And the odds for game 1 look as so, at least right here on this Friday morning. 6-point spread in favor of the Celtics. The over-under currently stands at 214 and a hook. It should not be a surprise to see Boston booked as a favorite at home. What might be the most intriguing, this is the shortest spread in favor of the Celtics in any of what is going to be their 15 playoff games throughout this NBA postseason run.
It's pretty crazy when you look at that number. Now, again, if you're just looking at it without analyzing the X's and O's, that is a very strong Celtics number. So I'm sure the betting public right away would be jumping on the Mavericks, similar to what you saw yesterday. Hey, getting 5.5 points. Let me just sign up on the Mavericks. I think they can win this basketball game. And yesterday they did, going away. But also, let's remind ourselves, that is a really strong number a week out from the game itself, because things would be much, much different. Maybe you can analyze that spread as making more sense if, let's just say, the Dallas Mavericks in, I don't know, game number 7 closed out the Minnesota Timberwolves on a Tuesday night on the road, then couldn't even go home and just had to fly right to Boston, where Boston had a week off of knowing who their two opponents are possibly going to be, being rested and ready at home and healthy, and away they go. So I do think that line is really strong and pointing towards the Celtics, but also still a correlation, Ben, on what that overall series price is currently sitting at a minus 220. We didn't think that the Boston Celtics would be 1.5-point favorites in game number 1 in their own building. That is a strong number that shows a lot of support for the Boston Celtics from the bookmakers.
In fact, in their 8 home games inside TD Garden throughout these playoffs, Boston has been only a single-digit favorite once. That was game number 2 against Indiana, and Boston did cover that number. Boston has only covered once in their last 6 playoff games. Again, that was game number 2 against the Pacers. Boston covered in 6 of their first 8 games, booked as a hefty favorite in all 8. From that point, just 1-5 against the spread. The Mavericks as an underdog, 6-1 straight up. You don't need the ATS numbers for Dallas, because as a dog, if they have covered a number, they have won outright so far in their 7 postseason games, booked as the underdog. Total at 214 and a hook. All 4 victories for the Mavs in the Western Conference Finals against one of the better defensive outputs in the NBA this year in Minnesota. All 4 of those wins in the WCF over. Boston over in 3 of the 4 games against Indiana. And in fact, DRS, Boston has gone over in 5 of their last 6 here in the postseason. What are your early thoughts about that over-under for game number 1 on Thursday?
It's tough to gauge. It really is, because similar to most, like, let's just say Major League Baseball teams, when you stay hot, Ben, what do you want to do? Play every single day. The Dallas Mavericks, particularly the 2 superstars, absolutely smoking hot coming out of that past game number 5. You'd like to roll over in 48 hours and play another basketball game and say, let's keep these good vibes going. Same thing with the Boston Celtics. It's abnormal during an NBA season to have over a week off before you play. Now, 2 thoughts of that. Yes, you're going to be very fresh by the time you take the court. You shouldn't have any issues playing 40-plus minutes because of how much time you had off, but that competitive edge does go down a little bit. When you're in game mode on a night-to-night basis and in playoff mode, you stay locked in and you're ready to go. I'm interested to see how that's going to play out throughout that first game, because, as I said, you should have rested legs, but also you might be a little bit rusty just being in game shape, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I look at this game, and I think it stays under. 214.5 for the opening game of an NBA Finals. Now, literally with a championship on the line, feels a little bit high by my estimation. Now, Dallas has played 6 games in the postseason that have featured a total of 210 or greater. And we have seen 5 of those 6 games go under, at least more than 210 where things stand. Last night's total at 210, and it did go over. So more than 210, 6 playoff games for the Mavs, 5 of those 6 under. This is the highest total for Boston, not in the Pacers series. And a lot of that is due to the pace that Indiana plays at. I would lean under at 214 and a hook, but we shall see. Donnie, I think the best bet for the NBA Finals, at least in my estimation, if you do want to back Dallas, it's on Luka Dončić to win the NBA Finals MVP award. I do not believe, and although Kyrie could be outstanding as he was in the Western Conference Finals, I do not believe Dallas wins the NBA championship unless Luka Dončić is spectacular. And if Dallas wins the NBA championship, then Luka Dončić in line to win the NBA Finals MVP award. And when you look at who is favored to lead the stat categories all throughout the NBA championship series, it's pretty much Luka Dončić in minus money anywhere you look, except in the rebounding component. And he is the favorite to make the most threes in this series, but it's not minus money.
Yeah, you take a look at the favorite teams, right? You expect them to win like the Boston Celtics. They have a couple of really good players, but obviously we know their superstar is Jason Tatum. But theoretically, if you're the favorite team by more than $2 like the Celtics are, you can have Tatum get by with averaging 23, 24, 25 points a game because Jaylen Brown and the rest of the guys can pick you up. Now, I'm not downgrading Kyrie Irving whatsoever, but there is no way in this series the Dallas Mavericks can win by Luka Dončić staying slightly under his average numbers. He has to be the dominant performer on that court on a night-to-night basis to give Dallas a chance in that series. So I think you're correct here. Can they win the I mean, anything's possible. Yes, Kyrie can score 40 points a night. We just don't see it. But if you're telling me right now, Luka doesn't get a triple-double in the series, Luka scores every game in the mid-20s and doesn't cross over that threshold, they're not going to win. So I agree with you here. If Dallas is going to win, Luka is going to put on an MVP performance from game one through however many game it takes.
Highest points prop for game number one, of course, is Luka Dončić at 30.5. Jason Tatum second highest in the most for Boston at 27 and a hook. Luka scored 28 plus in all five in the Western Conference Finals, but game four was the only time he didn't break through 30, and he scored 28, and he stayed under his prop, and that, of course, was the only Mavericks loss in the Western Conference Finals. Kristaps Porzingis does have a points prop out for game number one. It's 15 and a hook. Here are the series correct score odds for the 2024 NBA Finals. The team that you expect to win the NBA championship and in how many games. The shortest number, Boston, in only 5 at plus 310.